Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, The Shift, with MAPS coach James Shaw. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and you will automatically receive a copy of the recording an hour after the call. If you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the chat bar in your webinar taskbar to the right. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That is FASTTRACK@kw.com. That's all for me. James, take it away.
Thank you so much, Corey. I appreciate it. Hey, everybody, my name's James Shaw, and I appreciate you being on today. We're going to talk about something that I think is probably pretty important for us, especially in the market that we've been in, and that's this little book right here. And it's called Shift. It came out 10 years ago, like right now. And the thing is, though, we've got a bunch of you probably sitting on this call who have never experienced a shift. You've been only in a market that's been hot forever. And the question is, what are you going to do when the market does change, and how does that impact your business? Now, here's why this is important. You know, 10 years ago in January of 2009, I started my first team leader opportunity in Keller Williams. I've been with Keller Williams 15 years, and I had my first team leader opportunity in KW. And it was in a town just outside of Raleigh called Cary, North Carolina. Well, here's what happened. When I started in January, we had 110 agents. 2 months later, we had 89 agents. And, you know, we might have some team leaders or former team leaders on this call, and you're going, okay, well, that's not the job of a team leader. And you're right. The job of a team leader is to grow the market center, not shrink the market center. Except here's what happened. The market had shifted on us, and we just had agents that weren't ready. And some of them got out because they weren't ready. They weren't able to survive. Well, we don't want that to happen to you, and that's why we're starting this Shift program right now, to make sure that you're ready for a market change when it happens. Now, I am going to ask you to be involved and be engaged. And so, Corey, there might even be a time that I just ask you to unmute everybody, and I know it'll be so fun because it'll be so much background noise and so interesting. And yet I might need their involvement, and then we'll mute them again. And then if
Sounds
at some point, yeah, and at some point too, if someone has something to say, what do they do, Corey? They click the little hand and raise their hand, and you'll unmute them, right?
Yep.
Oh, you're
Exactly.
awesome. Awesome. So let's jump in and take a look at it. And that is this. Okay. Chances are, oh, I have to get to my slide. There we go. This is so fun. There we go. Here is what your business has probably looked like in the past. My guess is you have ridden the roller coaster real estate business in your life before. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I guess the question was, how do you handle it when it goes down? What do you do when business is falling and things get a little bit tough? What do you do when a market shifts? Well, the truth is you experience a shift all the time in your business. You experience one frequently, actually. Here's what it looks like. This comes straight out of the Shift book, and Gary says there's times of the year that we do more home sales than other times. In fact, my guess is that happens in your market. In fact, if you can, they can type in the chat box. Is that right, Corey? Just right there in this little chat box where it says chat, they can type things, right?
Correct.
Perfect. So I'd like for you to type in the chat box, when is it? What time of year does business begin to slow down traditionally in your market? Is it in the summer? Is it in the fall? Is it in the winter? You know, does it mirror this chart, or does it look, the upside down of that? What time of the year do you see your market start to transition? So I want you to type that in the chat box right now if you're able to do that, so we can see, hey, when is it our market shifts? Because here's the thing. You already know a change is going to happen. For us, where I am now in Tampa, we would start to see it slow down this time of year, maybe pick up right at the end of the year, and then in January, things would start to slow down again. Now, Corey, I can't tell if they've written in there or not. I have no idea. I can't see anything. So let me know. You just interrupt me if anybody types any answers in.
So we've got August. January is the slowest month. Winter, Thanksgiving for listings. February, December through February. Fall, September, mid-fall, July, November, December.
Awesome. Okay, so here's what's happening is basically the chart that we see right here is what most of your markets experience in this seasonal shift that you have every year. And here's my thought about it. You don't freak out about that usually. Like, you don't go running around, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? You're not freaking out about that shift because you plan for it, you budget for it, you know it's going to happen. You also sometimes have the opposite of it. Like, my guess would be we have some people on this call right now, on this webinar, who where the market might slow down in September, October, November, and yet maybe October was your best month of the year. And so I think one thing to think about when we look at a shift in the market, whether it's a seasonal shift or it's a long-term market shift, is that you just may choose to not participate. You may go, you know what, I'm just going to go out and sell a bunch of houses. And I think that's a good thing. So you might be asking, well, wait a minute. I mean, the market's pretty good right now. Inventory might be tight. Things are good. Why would I want to prepare for a shift right now? Well, I asked Gary that question. I went to Gary Keller and I said, why would someone who's never experienced a shift and they might be in a hot market, why would they need to experience one or act like one's happening now? And here's what he said. He said, you got to act like the market that's coming, not the market that you're in. And here's what he said. When you think and plan around where you are, you're behind. So in other words, if your whole business is set up to run like the current level of the market, that it's really hot and you're just going to go out and show the houses as quickly as you can or put escalation clauses in all your offers and that's just how you're going to roll, then he says you're going to be behind. He says in order to get ahead, you have to think and act like the market that's coming next. So act like the market that's coming, not the market that you're in. And the goal through Shift is to help you be able to do that, to help you act like the market that's coming, not the market that you're in. Well, the question is, what kind of market is coming? Okay, now, Corey, this is where it's going to get a lot of fun because I'm going to have you unmute like everybody. And if it goes bad, then we'll just mute them, no worries. And if it goes okay, we'll just leave it for a second. Is that okay, Corey? Can we handle that?
We can do that.
Okay, so here it comes. This is so exciting. She's going to
Everybody should. Okay, so
there we go.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
You have to unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me? Oh, it's so exciting.
Yes.
Hey,
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so you can hear me. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to walk through this with me, and then we're just going to mute you again out of the courtesy for the background noise. Now, heavy breathers, be careful. Heavy breathers, be careful. So here is, and just say I if you were at Mega Camp this year.
I.
Okay, so a handful at Mega Camp. Gary showed you this at Mega Camp, and here's the thing I want you to look at with this right here, is this is what's happened to home sales in the United States. Now, look at this. From 2008, right, to roughly today, what's been happening in the market?
Climbing.
It's climbing, right? Now, we had the little blip in 14, and yet for the most part, we've seen business grow since 2009. Now, look at since 2017. What's been happening since 2017?
No, just a bit.
It's a little bit of a dip. Yeah, it's a little bit of a dip. Now, here's the thing, and just say yes or no. Have you felt any type of slowdown in units in your marketplace? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
All right, now, I want to show you something else, though, very quickly. Look at this. See, back here, we had the sales. What's this say right here?
Home prices.
Prices. Good. Now, look at what's been happening since 2010 in prices. What's basically been happening? Prices are going up. Okay, now, they got it all right. This is good. Corey, go ahead and mute them. So, and I love you. You hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. So here's the thing, and this is what I wanted you to get. If you go back and look, we have been in a ramp up in units from basically 08 to 2017. In 2018, it leveled off, and then 2018, 2019, we've seen the market slip a little bit. Here's the thing, though. I don't know that every agent is feeling it. And the reason that I don't know every agent is feeling it is because if you go and look at what's happening to prices, prices are still going up. Now, it's, as you can see, it's leveled off a little bit in the last couple of years, and yet prices are still going up. Well, what happens when prices go up, even though units go down? What happens when prices go up and units go down is your income doesn't go down. So you look and you go and you look at your year and you're like, oh, the year's good. I've made the same as I did last year, or even a little bit more as I did last year, even though maybe my units were a little bit less than they were the year before. And I want us to be very, very careful about that. And the reason we've got to be careful about that is this. You actually might be failing so slowly, you feel like you're succeeding. And Gary says that to us sometimes. We might be failing so slowly, we feel like we're succeeding. And so Gary says in Shift that this is the most humbling lesson of a shift. The most humbling lesson of a shift is this. We succeed in good times not only because of what we do right, but also in spite of what we do wrong. Now, I don't desire for anybody to find out they're doing something wrong once the market has shifted. See, the time to figure out that you've got holes in the business that should be fixed is at a time when the market's actually still pretty good, because you can survive a change there. When the market shifts and all of a sudden it gets a little bit tougher, well, it gets tougher to fix and you may not be able to fix it fast enough. So I want to go into two areas that are really important. In fact, you might want to write these down. There's two areas that are really important when it comes to a shift. And the first one is your mindset. Yeah, there's Dr. Phil. He's surprised about that. I'm going to play that one again. Look at Dr. Phil. Mindset. Yeah. Whoa, a shift is coming. The next one's action, right? Are you doing the right things? Are you focused on the right activities? So mindset and action. Now, I'm going to ask a question, and Corey, because I still haven't figured it out, you'll just have to forgive me. I can't see their responses. Will you tell me what they type in? Because I'm going to ask them this question. Thank you. When it comes to mindset, how much of your success is dependent on mindset? I know, it's really funny. How much of your success is dependent on mindset? Would you type in the little chat box there, how much of your success do you believe is dependent on mindset, like Dr. Phil's going through right now? Corey, what did they come up with?
90%, a lot of exclamation points, 100%, a lot of it, all of it, 90%,
yeah,
100%, all of it.
Hey, Corey, do we have the smartest people in Keller Williams on this webinar right now? I'm going to tell you.
Sure do.
Oh, happy day. Yeah, because here's what we know. We've learned it in bold. It's 10 years. It's been out. And we know that 90% of our success is mindset. And so the thing that I'd like for you to think about when it comes to your mindset is this. Number one, you can either be freaked out and nervous and worried that a market's going to change, because we know it's going to. It can't stay great forever. You can ignore it and go, oh, it's all going to be okay. That's going to be fine. No worries. Or you can get real about it. And I want you to be careful. We don't want to be overly pessimistic about what's going on in the market, because then that's what you'll experience. You don't want to be overly optimistic about it either, because quite frankly, that's not facing reality. What we've got to do is get real and get right. And here's the mindset that I'd like to see happen for you for a shift, and that is this: to recognize that a shift is an opportunity. A shift is an opportunity for you to make the most important choices in your business that allow you to win and succeed, and not just survive, also thrive. And so there's really four things that I think are important when it comes to a shift that need your focus. The 2 L's and the 2 P's of a shift. The 2 L's and the 2 P's of a shift. And the 2 L's are lead generation and lead conversion. And the 2 P's are people and profit. And when it comes to a shift, we've got to ask ourselves this question: do you have those 4 things where they should be right now? And if those 4 things are not where you believe they should be right now, then now is the time to fix them. Don't wait till the market's changed to shift up your lead generation, shift up your lead conversion, shift up your people, whether that's you or others, and shift up your profit. Right now is the time, quite frankly, for you to work on the 2 L's and the 2 P's. So let's talk about one of those L's, and that's lead generation. Now, I'm curious, Corey, maybe they can type in, if you were to rate the quality of your daily lead generation on a scale of 0 to 10 today in a good market, what number would you give it? And Corey, could you tell me what some of those answers are as they type them in?
1.76, 4, 6, 1, 7, 5, 8.
Okay, that's good. That's
all
good.
over the board.
All right, cool. Most of them, though, are below 5, or 6 or below. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so we all have, if you go back, we have an opportunity here. We absolutely have an opportunity to upshift our lead generation. Here's 3 things to think about. And quite frankly, 3 things that we're going to explore as we go into the Shift coaching program starting at the end of the month. And that is, are you making the concerted effort to find leads? What is the effort that you're putting in, and what's your focus on that? Now is the time to make that shift, because we know it's a 90 to 180 day payoff or return. So now's the time to make that shift. And then next, what's your strategy? Well, the thing is, people tell me, they go, well, okay, this is hard. Like figuring out how to make this happen within my schedule or who to talk to or what to say is hard. And I go, it's not really hard. And I want to share a story with you. I have a 7-year-old daughter. Her name is Naomi. And one thing she helps us do is the dishes. And she helps us with that. And one day we're unloading the dishwasher and she's like, Daddy, I don't want to unload the dishwasher today. It's really hard. I go, is it hard? I don't think it's hard. Maybe it's just not fun. Like, look at this one. I love this. Like, what are you doing? Washing dishes. Is it my birthday? I love that one. My goodness. I mean, washing dishes isn't hard. It's just not fun. And I think one of the challenges is we confuse difficulty with enjoyment, that when something isn't fun, we find it to be hard. And my goal in the Shift program is to make this stuff fun and allow you to be energized and excited to work on the 2 L's and the 2 P's. And to really, truly bring an energy around it for you that's going to make you excited to lead generate, excited to convert, excited to either work on you as a person or work on the people in your organization, and make you excited to look at the profit so that you can see a win. Now, my guess is you know a lot of this stuff already, and yet Gary says in the book, for all the necessity of knowing what to do, taking the right action now is just as necessary, because once you know, it's not about more knowing, it's about doing. Now, Corey, my guess would be if we asked them, do you know what task you're supposed to do when it comes to lead generation? They're all going to say yes. I'm not going to have them type in the box that they don't know what to do, because they know what to do. The question is, are they doing it? And I think we know the answer to that.
I would agree.
Yeah, so here's what I want you to think about when it comes to the things that are our responsibility, and that's this. We're responsible for these 5 things: the choices that we make every day, the words that we use, the actions we take, the successes we have, and the listings we take. These are our responsibility. Now, I would guess that you have some opportunity here. In fact, Corey, I'm going to ask, and if you'll help me, I'm going to have them type in there, which one of these 5 responsibilities do they believe could use the most attention right now? Is it the choices we're making, the words we're using, the actions we're taking, the successes we're having, or the listings we're taking? Type in the answer to the one that you think is the one that you've got to take more ownership of right now. And I'm curious to hear their responses.
First choice is actions. Second one is listings, and then choices is third.
Interesting. So we've got choices, listings, and choices. So the question becomes, who's your partner in helping you make the right choices and get the most listings? And when it comes to a shift, those things become exposed. If we're making wrong choices in a shift or not taking enough listings in a shift, that becomes exposed all of a sudden, and we might lose our business. Well, here's what I want you to recognize. That's up to you. It's absolutely up to you as long as you have the right partner. In fact, Gary says this in Shift. He says, remember that success is never about the chosen few. It's always about the few who choose. And so my question for you is, are you making the right choices? So I want to take a minute, Corey, if it's okay. Can we open it up for questions that people might have? Maybe
Absolutely.
questions about the 2 L's and the 2 P's, or questions about how you prepare for a shift, or questions about how do you get motivated to do the lead gen, or what do you say, or who do you talk to? So if you've got something on your mind that is, you're nervous about as we come to a shift, what do? Do they raise their hand, or do they type it in the box?
They can raise their hand, and I will open up the floor to them.
Okay, so we're going to open it up for you now to interact with me and maybe ask a question. Maybe you have a lead gen question. You have a question about how can you tell a shift is coming. You have a question about making the right choices. And just raise your hand. And then, Corey, you just interrupt me when we have somebody, and we'll jump in.
We've got 4.
Oh, good. Well, let's go ahead and go to the first person. So who are we talking to?
Hala, if you want to
I have to go look. I'm sorry. I
Here
know
we go.
you.
Hala, can you hear us?
Oh, there we
Yes.
go. Okay. Hi, who's this?
Hala Hannah.
Oh, how are you? Thank you. So what's your question about a shift?
It hit me when you said I'm doing the same amount of money but less unit, which is I felt definitely the market is shifting.
Yeah. Well, so this is really important because a lot of people experience this. And the challenge is, here's what I would challenge you to do. And this is one thing we'll focus on over the 8 weeks of shift is, what standard of measure are you using for your business? And too many people use GCI, right? And we should really be looking at units.
Yeah, I was looking for my 1099 like income year
Right.
to date, and I definitely I am a little bit minus than last year. I may pick up, but definitely the unit number is less than last year.
Yes, it's down. And so what we've got to do is go in and put a focus on units and help you get that number back up. See, in a shift, what's really important is as the overall units in the market are going down, which that is happening if you look at the United States as a whole, the total number of units are going down. Well, we've got to make sure that yours doesn't, that yours at a minimum stays the same as what it did last year, because if we do that, we allow your market share to go up. That was a great observation. Thank you so much. Okay, who's next?
We've got Nancy Lane.
Nancy Lane, how are you? So great to hear you. Nancy, what's on your mind?
Hold on, trying to get her off mute.
Oh, okay. I feel like Larry King. Nancy Lane, hello.
Hi, James. I
Hi.
was curious. I have for 3 years been trying to be listing dominated and less buyer focused. I haven't gone after buyer listings. I've been calling in the morning, and I've had about a 90-day of no transactions. And now I'm feeling nervous, like get in the open houses and pay attention to buyers. What's your opinion about that?
Well, okay, so here's what we know, Nancy. What are the 3 L's that Gary's taught us for years?
Leads,
Yes.
listings, and leverage.
Right. Yeah, you got it. So we've got to focus our lead gen. And quite frankly, a shift is a time that you desire to build up your inventory. Right. We've got to build up our inventory. A great agent who you know and I know, Gary Ubaldini, I remember him saying one time that when they were selling it, it took them 1 listing to sell 1 listing. And then they noticed it took them 2 listings to sell 1 listing. And then it took them 3 listings to sell 1 listing. And so they weren't going to change the goal on the units. They were going to change the goal on the listings. And so, Nancy, that's going to be an area of focus that we've got to look at, is putting that focus all in on listings, and do it now while the market's still actually pretty good. Nancy, does that help you?
Yes, that helps. Thank you.
Thank you. Corey, do we have another one? I know we have a couple of minutes left. So what else do we have?
We have, I apologize, Estacia?
Awesome. Go ahead.
Stacia, I apologize.
That's okay. So I wanted to talk about explaining the shifting market to a seller who is having difficulty understanding that their house is now worth less than the last couple of sales. It's taking longer, etc.
Stacia, you're so smart, and it's great to hear your voice. The thing that I would recommend, and we'll actually spend a whole session on this in the program when we launch at the end of September. It starts, I'll just give it to you though right now, starts on page 150 of the Shift book. And on 150 of the Shift book, and by the way, Stacia, what I do is I would take the Shift book with you on this listing, on these listing appointments or these pricing conversations. And if we're going to go back, is this a current listing that you have and you've got to get a
listing? Yes.
Say it again.
Current listing, yes.
Okay, so you're going to go, what I would recommend you do is you're going to go back and meet them in person, either at their house or ask them to come into the market center. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull out page 150 of the Shift book, and we're going to walk them through a tale of 2 markets. This is not a phone conversation. It's not a text conversation. And Stacia, this is different from the conversations you and I were having a year ago about what was going on in your market in Atlanta, where it was hot, hot, hot. And now all of a sudden, look what's happened in a year. We're having pricing conversations again, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to go page 150 through like 154, and we will spend a whole series on this, a whole session of the Shift coaching program will be on this, where you go through and have the conversation about the tale of 2 markets. Here's homes that are in the market based on price and condition, and here's homes that are out of the market. And so I'd go reference those pages, Stacia.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Great to talk to you. All right, Corey, do we have anybody else?
Yes, we've got John Bothwell.
Hi, John. Thanks for joining us. What's on your mind?
Well, James, a couple of questions. One, what is the cause of the shift and what's the effect going to be? And what's the best way to build up inventory during this period?
I love you. First of all, if I knew the answers to the first 2 questions, I would not be doing a free webinar at noon, at my house. I would be floating around on my yacht in the Caribbean. Okay, so can I make that really clear? It's when is it coming and what causes it and how long is it going to be? Those questions are practically impossible for us to answer, and we could go investigate them. And there's all sorts of reasons. The last time we had people that quite simply just didn't pay their mortgages. Here's what we know though. The economy goes through cycles, and this up cycle we've been in for a long time can't last forever. And so we've got to be prepared for it. So let's talk about the third question, which was what do we do to ramp up listing inventory? Well, here's what I would say to you, John. John, where do you get most of your listings right now?
Most of my listings come from the internet and from referrals.
Okay, so you get a ton of your business, I'm hearing, from your network, your referral networking, that database, and then you get some online, right?
Correct.
All right, so let's go back and look at your database and your network there. And the advice I would give you on that is double whatever kind of daily communication you're doing to that group. In fact, we're going to go through the strategies on that on the very first webinar that we do for the overall shift program, the 8-week program. We're going to go through and talk specifically about what to double down on. So that would be my advice. So if you're talking to 5 people out of your database every day, well, then we're going to make that 10. And we're going to do that starting now. And there's some other things that we would double down on as well. That would be the first one. Does that help you, John?
Yes, sir.
You're a rock star. Thank you, John. I appreciate you very much. Corey, we probably have time for maybe one more or two. Do we have anybody else on the line?
We've got 2 more.
We'll take them both. Go ahead.
All right, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, excellent. What did you mean by having a partner?
So who is it that's supporting you and helping you by getting you to think about your activities, your actions, asking you the right questions? Who is it that you can go to as a mentor to help make sure that you're actually keeping your business moving in the right direction? Here's one thing I find for agents is we want to go solo and just do this on our own. Well, this is a lonely place. And real estate is a tough job. My friend Monica Reynolds told me one time, there's 3 things that we need to do with real estate agents. And the 3 things that I want to do during our shift program is these 3 things. Number 1, Jim, is encourage. Number 2, Jim, is encourage. So Jim, what's number 3?
Encourage.
Yeah, and so throughout the group program together that we're launching here at the end of the month, my goal is to encourage you and to give you the right systems and tools. And that's what I mean by a partner.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate you very much. Corey, we got time for one more? We still have time for one more?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
I'm looking for someone who just had their hand up and they disappeared. So they
well,
must have
maybe
put
they
their
have
hand
their question answered. So they must have had their question answered. So let me give you the details real quickly then, and you can interrupt if this person comes back. This is a program I'm excited to bring you, and my goal was this, to make it really easy. So we're going to meet on Thursdays at 1 o'clock right here in a webinar setting. And Corey, we record those, right? So if they miss one, they can go back and listen or something like that.
Correct.
And it's always going to be 1 o'clock Eastern. We start September 26th, and it's these 8 Thursdays. It's not consecutive. We skip one for Thanksgiving. We skip one in the middle of October. So just check out the schedule. And we'll do a 1-hour webinar where we're going to dive into the 12 tactics in shift and how you can apply those now in your business. And Corey, they can just go to mapscoaching.com/group to sign up, right?
Sure can, and they will be receiving a link to the program along with the recording of this webinar in an hour.
Awesome, and we've made it super affordable. It's like $197 or something like that to participate, because I just want to give you some high quality, high value content that you can use to grow the business. So I trust this was of some value to you, and I appreciate you all taking the time out. Corey, I think we've accomplished everything we wanted to accomplish. Is that right?
Okay. Yes, and we've got 2 hands up and a couple questions real quick.
Yeah,
So I'm going to read off the questions. So one person says, I'm most nervous about companies like Amazon, Zillow. I'm seeing lots of reduced commissions now that which I didn't see before.
Yep. So can I address that real quick, Corey? And here's the thing. We're facing 2 shifts right now. You have a market shift, which is what I talked about here. We also have a shift in the industry. We'll spend a session talking about how do we show our value. Here's what we have to remember. Money matters in the absence of value. And if you make your value the money, there will always be somebody who will undercut you on that. So we've got to make our value bigger than that. And we'll take a session where we'll walk through how do you show your value, because quite frankly, people would pay you 78% if they felt that you were worth that. So how do we show the value? Corey, that was a great question. Thank you for sharing that one with me.
Absolutely. Armando says, James, you rock. I'm in for the shift program. And we've got 2 hands up. So I'm going to unmute Kelly.
Awesome. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hi, good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Thanks. My question is, so I'm actually operations.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, how do I support my agents?
Yes. That's a genius question. So one thing is, do you think your agents are looking at the numbers on a daily basis?
We're looking often, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
not every day, but often.
yeah, so we've got to pay attention from a numbers standpoint, a conversion rate standpoint. I want to get down. In fact, we talk about this in the very first or second session. You know, what's our call to contact ratio? What's our contact to appointment ratio? What's our appointment scheduled to appointment fallout ratio? You know, appointment had ratio. I want to look at all those ratios and watch them over time, and that's something you can help them with. Another one is, are they, turning in some type of daily report to you? When I was on a large team, I ran the top selling team in the company for 3 years. We were #1 in KW in 2006. And one of my roles for that Rainmaker was to look at what the agents were doing on a daily basis from their lead gen standpoint. Because remember that in a hot market, a lack in lead gen will be okay. In a down market, a lack in lead gen will completely expose you. And we've got to make sure they're hitting some of those numbers. So that's a way as an ops that you can help support them. Does that help you?
Yes, thank you.
Kelly, you're awesome. I like you. Thank you so much. Okay, we got our one more.
Yep, Bernard here.
All right. Hi there.
Oh,
Well, that's okay.
I can't unmute him oh, he's self-muted. Bernard, if you want to take yourself off mute, you should be able to speak.
Oh, cool, Bernard. We would love to talk to you. So I don't know, there's a little microphone button somewhere on your screen. Let me know if he unmutes. If not, maybe he can just email the question and I'll be happy to connect.
James, hi,
Oh, there
Bernard.
we go. Hey, Bernard, how are you? I can hear you. What's your question? You're going to be our last word of the day.
Yeah, question is, I'm a 100% listing agent and I just prospect for expireds and my numbers, I'm struggling in terms of listings right now and I'd love to increase my numbers, my listings that I have. I have about 5 now and I need to up it. What's some tips you can give me?
Well, what do you think would be the first tip?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. I'm thinking you probably say call Fizbo.
Well, so what I would say is, expand into add another bucket. So we have to remember that Gary says that 90+% of your business is going to come from 5 strategies. That's all, and 80% of it's going to come from like 2. Well, you're telling me you've got 1 strategy, so we've really got to find the second strategy. And also, we've got to get database in the mix, Bernard. We can't ignore that database. That's the long-term business. In fact, we'll take a part of one of the sessions to talk about how to really communicate with your database in a shift. So that's what I'd recommend is add another funnel.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. Hey, if anyone wants to connect with me, here's how you can do it. James.shaw@kw.com, james.shaw@kw.com, or text me 813-523-8459. 813-523-8459. I'll be happy to help you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on September 26th. Corey, thanks for your help. You're the most awesome, amazing person at MAPS. Don't tell Barbara I said that.
My pleasure.
Thank you, friends. Talk to you next time.